Om Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amrutam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Om. May the divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the Sunday service of the Vedanta Society of Toronto. As you can see, it's not in Toronto. I'm delivering it from Vedanta Society of Austin in Texas, US. So, welcome you all on this online lecture of Sunday service. And today's topic of our discussion is the ultimate reality, personal and impersonal. Today, the 21st of September this year is a very auspicious day, being Mahalaya. Mahalaya is the day when uh, the Devi Paksha is very close. From tomorrow, the Devi Paksha or the worship of the Divine Mother starts. And today they remember the mains and ancestors and offer them water and their respect and adoration. So it's a very auspicious day in the Hindu calendar. And today also happens to be for the Ramakrishna devotee of the Ramakrishna Order, birthday of Swami Akhandanandaji Maharaj. I bow down to Swami Akhandanandaji Maharaj. He was the pioneer of the activities of the Ramakrishna Mission, the service activities. What Swami Vivekananda said, that goal of life is Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha. So Akhandanandaji was first to do that service to humanity, seeing them in God, that taught by Sri Ramakrishna, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva, seeing God in human beings, serve them, help them, we win with them and remove their difficulties. That will be the great worship of God, says Sri Ramakrishna. Making that practical in life, Swami Akhandananda started his mission of service to humanity, looking upon them as God at a very small place called Sargachi, near Sargachi in Murshidabad district of West Bengal, India. During Swamiji's time itself, when Swami Vivekananda was alive, and Swami Vivekananda was very impressed with his attitude of service and making the ideal of service practical in life for the first time in the Ramakrishna Order. And that continues even today and has been made a part of the Ramakrishna Order's uniqueness of serving humanity, looking upon them as the manifestation of God, divinity. So we remember that Swami Akhandananda's contribution and his legacy of service as propounded by Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna as his original person to say that. So Swami Akhandananda, there is another brother disciple of Swami Akhandananda, Swami Saradananda. He was the one who wrote Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, on whom sat Sri Ramakrishna himself during when Sri Ramakrishna was alive on his lap and said, I was checking whether you can bear my weight or not. So that means Saradananji was the first general secretary of the order, saying that whether you can bear the burden and the responsibility of the order that is going to grow in future. And he was very happy to see how cool-minded was Swami Saradananda, the great thinker, and never got agitated. Perfect, like in one of the verses, is like a Gananatha, like Shiva, like Ganesha, always quiet, peaceful. Nothing could disturb his peace of mind. Great thinker. And his great contribution is not only running the Ramakrishna order when it was at the beginning, but also to write the wonderful book of Sri Ramakrishna, Life of Sri Ramakrishna, called in Bengali, it is called Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga, which is translated as the great Sri Ramakrishna, the great master, and recently as Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. So These two English translations are wonderful. The recent one is very popular. Sri Ramakrishna in his divine play. Swami Saradananda described Sri Ramakrishna as Acharyanam Mahacharya, great teacher among world teachers. That was his saying, because he came to give to the world what world was fighting about and to harmonize all that, not by his just by his oration or his just talk, but by his practice and experience. Sri Ramakrishna found that all distinction and fighting in the name of God is unfounded, and it should not be there. So, because God is one, how you look upon God is your personal view. God is not two, God is one. And whether you call it personal or unpersonal, impersonal, that is up to you. So, all role of all great teachers of mankind are following. A world teacher has a message for humanity suited to the needs of that age. All great teachers, Sri Ramakrishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jesus, Buddha, or Krishna, Rama, all had a message that suited to that time. So all were very relevant and important during that time. Our time, the great world teacher or avatar is Sri Ramakrishna. His words are so important for us in this age, and there are so much of global village and mingling of many ideas about culture, about everything, about even religion, and we all live together in many places of different professing different religion. Take for example India. India is the mini world where religions of every denomination, people of those religion live together in harmony, in together. So all that is what Sri Ramakrishna brought to the world. His idea of God is just the fancy of the mind. God is one, and all ideas are fine to that person, whatever that person thinks. But on that account, there should be no quarrel among the followers of God, of one idea with another idea, because God is one. How we look upon God is our personal view. So, but we all look upon the same thing, as Swami Vivekananda says. If you take the photographs of sun while traveling towards the sun, there will be different pictures will be there. So one picture will be the same of the same sun. After many miles you go above towards the sun, it will be different picture, and many miles still different, but all are the pictures of same sun. You can say sun is like a disk. When you see, look from here, when you go near closer to sun, it is a huge vast mass of energy. It's a mass of burning fire. So that's how it different is, but it's the same sun. Like God is same. How you look upon that, God is up to you. So we worship God in different way. We look upon God in different way, but we worship the same God. But we like to worship in the way that we think. On that account, there should be no quarrel or disharmony among the followers of God in different religions. That's what Sri Ramakrishna came and taught, and every teacher comes to that way. Second, Swami Sharadananda said, a world teacher starts a new movement through a success of teachers, Guru Parampara. So the same teaching, same truth. We say, love God, love your neighbor, love everyone, be in harmony with the people, be honest, be truthful, and make your life happy here and attempt for salvation or emancipation or being freed from all ignorance, living in love with whole humanity and with great devotion to the ultimate reality. Call it God, call it Brahman, call it Jehovah, whatever you call, it's the same being. So that's what the teachers of mankind, the great teachers of mankind, have been saying. So all that knowledge flows through Guru Parampara. But there is a little, they will try to explain accordingly as the suited to that time. That time. Third, what Sardananji said is a world teacher's life and teachings produce far-reaching transformation in society. So it is not for one particular few years, for a century that their teaching is valid. Their teaching is valid for ages to come. So that is what the incarnation of God. And what they teach is so profound, so powerful that it remains in this world to enlighten us, to invigorate us, to give solace and peace and hope to us. So that is what is the power of God. Sri Ramakrishna's message to the world um, is the message of hope. Sri Ramakrishna said, everyone can realize God. So that is what he said to the world, that everyone has the capacity to improve himself or herself, to make a better person, better in behavior, better in relationship, better in thought, better in approach towards God. So all that can be made better, and no one is there who is already gone and can do nothing. So he didn't like the word sinner, because he said one who will say sinner will become the sinner ultimately. So don't call yourself sinner. You are children of immortal bliss. God resides in your heart, and there is infinite possibility within you. That is the hope he gave to every person, man or woman, doesn't matter at all, rich or poor, no distinction. Everyone can evolve spiritually and find um, God within him, because it is his nature. His own soul is divine by nature. So that was one his teaching, message of hope. Personal testimony of fundamentals like God, immortality of the soul, and spiritual destiny, effectiveness of proper worship and service, all that Sri Ramakrishna brought as hope for the humanity, for every individual in of the human beings. Sri Ramakrishna's second message is he upholds, his message is the divinity of life, divinity of soul, divinity of our true self. So that is what his second message. So what he says is like we all know that human being is very dignified being, where the West upholds dignity of man, and Vedanta upholds the divinity of man. Ramakrishna saw nothing but divine consciousness everywhere in every living being. He saw every person as an unique manifestation of the divine, irrespective of his power, his intelligence, beauty, talents, etc. So that was the second message, that equality of humanity, human beings, and the great divine power hidden in them. So there is no difference, though externally there might be difference between power and intelligence and beauty and talents, etc. But inwardly, every man is divine. Sri Ramakrishna also set the goal of human life. What is our ultimate human life? Ultimate goal of human life. He says the human life's goal cannot be just to enjoy this world for a few years and after then die, and then not the luxury or success or to become celebrity, nothing that sort, to become rich, wealthy, powerful. So not that, but real ultimate goal of human life is to realize God, to know your true nature, to find God within your heart, to really feel what is the relation between you and God. So, bringing God to yourself is the ultimate goal of life. You become connected with that ultimate reality, the truth. The truth is God, and that God resides in our heart as our soul. That is the truth, and we have to find that in human life. Ultimate goal of human life is to realize God. That's what he said. Ramakrishna saw two forces working in our system, in our psyche, in our Maya. He said there are two types of Maya. One is called avidya Maya, that which makes our mm, mind move, our function work in our life. So avidya Maya is deluding power, which takes us away from God and makes us very individualistic, separate from the whole universe, and we become materialistic, and we seek only material enjoyment. If we are given to this avidya Maya, this power is also inherent in us. It comes there. It's when we are born as a human being, Maya is there, and this is called avidya Maya. That takes us towards more materialism and bondage. Uh, there is another power is there, the same power in another form. It's called Vidya Maya. That very Maya that tries to bind us to the world by making us material and seeking physical comforts and all physical glories of this short-lived life. There is another way of that Maya. It's called Vidya Maya. Vidya Maya is liberating power of the great creation, great consciousness that we have, that not the ultimate consciousness but the awareness of ours, and the power of our mind and senses utilized for liberating ourselves. This liberating power or the Vidya Maya and deluding power or avidya Maya, they both work within us. And which one should we give prominence, which one should we follow, depends on us. So naturally, to become spiritual, if you are a spiritual seeker, we will give to Vidya Maya, to more mm, activity of our mind, thought, action, all towards liberation of the self, not for the bondage or delusion. Those are avidya Maya. So we will worship Vidya Maya and try to be utilizing the Vidya Maya, the inherent power within us. Another thing that Sri Ramakrishna gave, his third and most well-known message of Sri Ramakrishna, is the message of harmony. Harmony of different ideas, different genders, different cultures, different spiritual awareness, different spiritual methods. So different ideas about God. There is harmony. There is no contradiction and fight among different ideas of God. So vast is human religions, so different kinds of religion and so many different kinds of followers are there. Even in one religion there are different kinds of followers thinking God is one way. So but different religions coming together thinking of God in a different way, calling him by different name. But there is underlying harmony if we go deeper and find that there is no conflict or quarrel between the followers of God, from one religion to another. So that was great message Sri Ramakrishna gave, the message of harmony of religion. He called Joto Mot Toto Path, that as many faiths, so many paths. That there all faiths are paths leading to God, one God. All faiths are paths. So whatever path you choose, whatever religion you follow, all will lead us to same goal. So that is what Sri Ramakrishna says, Joto Mot Toto Pot. So he practiced different types of harmony at different level of existence. In his spiritual life, we find three aspects. First, ideal or the ultimate reality, which the aspirant wants to attain. What we want to attain. So, ultimate reality. What is that? Whether it is a personal or impersonal question comes here. Whether God is just with form living in heaven when we want to go and attain Him, or the goal, ultimate goal is only to go to heaven and enjoy the life there as we would enjoy here, the most materialistic life, only enjoyment and nothing else. Or there is something that supreme bliss is there when you get rid of this bondage of ignorance, and supreme bliss is there and you become immortal. Which one is our ideal? So that is what different aspects of ideals are there, and how to reach that ideal. So these are called path to the goal. Different ideals, different paths are there to reach the goals as we set in our life, what we want after in this life and after life. So there is life after death. Every religion will say that. Even though those who do not say about God or doesn't say whether they believe in God, still they will say there is afterlife, life after death, and there is some say there is reincarnation, some say no, you go to eternal heaven or eternal hell. But there is life after death, everyone recognizes that. So what type of life after death we seek? We want to become immortal and be in the bliss forever by being one with divinity. We want to go to heaven and enjoy there the good life for some time, or we want to be in the presence of God, making the separation from the divinity, full divinity, and ourselves like the servant of God or the child of God, and remain there in eternity. What type of goal that we set for ourselves, that makes our path and religion and faith different. The third and finally, the actual experience of realizing the ideal. So, what you said, the ideal, then you have to realize the ideal. To realize the ideal, there is comes the practice. Live. Every religion will say, be moral and ethical, be kind to your neighbors and every human being, speak sweetly, don't harbor ill feeling towards anyone. You have to live well in this life. That is the sign of follower of any religion. Any follower of any religion has to be kind, good-hearted, and loving to all. So that is what the approach of all religions is. So that's what the religion will say. So there is a path. Then after that comes a spiritual path. In some religion has many types of spiritual practice that you have to do, that you have to pray 5 times a day. Some religions will say, some will say go to on Sunday to the church and pray to Jesus, so that he, with his grace, you will attain success in life, that is spiritual success in life, and ultimately you will get liberation after your death on the day of judgment. And some say, no, you have to live every moment connected with God. That's what the Vedanta tries to say. You live connection with God or reality, that you are that immortal self. You are not this world, or this body and the world are just the material. You in reality is not are not material, something. You are divinity itself. So try to realize divinity by connecting yourself with what you think the divinity. Put your mind on the thought of divinity, like put mind on the thought of God. Those who think are one are the manifestation of that ultimate reality, which we call, whom we call in the Ishta. So think of Ishta all the time, so as much as possible, and pray to him whenever you can. You can pray. So like that is one idea. Another is think of yourself as the divine. Don't identify yourself with the body and the material world, and that the blissful self that you have is ultimate. It needs nothing. It is perfect by itself. Remind yourself of that perfection that you already have. So that is another kind of spiritual practice that we can do. So that is what is said. Sri Ramakrishna achieved the reconciliation of these sometimes contradictory views. So this may be contradictory faith, but these are all this harmony in different kinds of ideas. All seek the betterment of human life and utilization of human life in good works, and also mm, in the sadhana, as you call, a spiritual practice, so that you can attain the ultimate of human life. First aspect, known as tattva, the ultimate ideal or reality, uh, Thakur achieved two types of harmony. One, the harmony between personal and impersonal God. God as a person is the object of love and devotion. God as the impersonal absolute is the goal of knowledge. So comes devotion and knowledge. The worship by heart, worship by the mind or the intellect. So that type of thought we can say. But that is also there is harmonized. You cannot just have only emotion and prodding of devotion without thinking, without utilizing your mind and your source and ability of reasoning and thinking deeper into the truth. But only thinking deeper, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, you become dry. Only you think that this world is unreal, nothing is real. So you don't open up your heart. So both this heart and brain, mind, heart and head has to be harmoniously blended in our life to become the perfect person. So that was what Sri Ramakrishna harmony said. Swami Vivekananda often combined, and head and heart should be grown enormously and perfectly in human being. He added one more factor: head, heart, and he said hand. Hand is the work. You think deeply about the reality about the God, and your heart flows in love for God, and also your hands work for the betterment of world, that you serve the children of God whom you love so much. God, the ultimate reality, unchanging source of ultimate bliss, achievable by our soul. That is what the Vedanta will say. God is achievable. God can be found out. God, we can reach God, because you are of the very nature of divine as the God is. You are a drop of water, and God is the ocean of water. So you are not separate, different from water. So just you have to know that connection, that you are same divinity as God. So know that, and then you feel all that God feels, that no worries, anxieties, nothing, seeing this temporary world as the ultimate thing, that when it changes, everything will change. You are not, you don't get worried with the things of the world. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna also said that. So, but all have to be done together. God as the impersonal absolute is the goal of knowledge. So knowledge makes you feel that you are the ultimate truth, or aham brahmasmi. That is the goal of knowledge, goal of mind. But harmonious blending of head, hand, and heart the is the teaching of Sri Ramakrishna. We find in Vedanta the splits between dual and non-dual. Dualists do not recognize in impersonal. Non-dualists try to include the impersonal, that include the personal aspect in the realm of Maya. So conflict in the traditional Vedantic scholars. It is not a conflict in the people who practice that. It is the conflict in the those who scholars of Vedanta are, that if you believe in God with form, the personal God, then impersonal God is doesn't need it. So those who believe in impersonal God alone, that God is impersonal, that whole this thing is just a Maya, so they will discard the personal God. Sri Ramakrishna accepts both as equally real and true. So both impersonal and personal depend on the state of your mind and the state of your sadhana, and both are true. That's what Sri Ramakrishna will say. According to him, the impersonal and the personal are the static and dynamic aspect of one and the same reality. Sri Ramakrishna calls it Nitya and Leela, or Brahman and Kali, respectively. That he says this world is Leela of God. And when there is no Leela, there is Nitya, there is no, then it becomes impersonal. Personal, this all this we see, and the personal aspect of God is all the manifestation of Nitya in one way. So that is not disconnected with the Nitya. It is same Nitya appearing as Leela. That's what Sri Ramakrishna view is. Then how is there is contradiction between the Leela and the Nitya? When it is not acting, no creation, nothing, it is Nitya. The same Nitya or ultimate reality, that nomenon often called. This nomenon becomes phenomenon, but this is not separate or come apart from nomenon. That's why this verse said, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. That Purnam, ultimate reality, that absolute, is full, and this world creation is also full. That this creation has come from that absolute reality, and when this creation has come, that absolute reality remains same. So that means that absolute reality appears as this world, as this, that absolute impersonal reality becomes this personal reality. There's no difference. Sri Ramakrishna calls, thus Brahman and Shakti or Kali are identical. If you accept the one, you must accept the other. Like he gave the example, how both are together, how both are to be acceptable, how both personal and impersonal are same. He said, haven't you seen fire? Fire, if you say fire and its power to burn, fire is there and its power to burn. Fire is like Brahman, and fire becomes fire because of its power to burn. Power to burn is like Shakti or Kali. So when we consider fire, then without any quality, just fire is there, luminous, something, nothing other quality. So it becomes like Brahman. But then Brahman is connected together with the power of burning. You cannot separate from other. When you think of fire, you think of power to burn. So Brahman and Shakti are identical, eternally connected. There is no distinction. The same Brahman appears as Shakti when creation is there. When there is no creation, you think of no creation, then that Shakti becomes merged with the Brahman. Nothing merging. It is same thing being seen that way. There is nothing merging because nothing separated. just how we look upon the reality. I also give the example of milk and its whiteness. When you say milk, the idea of whiteness comes. That's why when you say Brahman, Nitya, the idea of Leela comes. When you say Leela, Nitya, there is something of eternal Nitya, eternity of this display of God comes. So Nitya and Leela are always together, like milk and its whiteness together. So one reminds of other. Thus, one cannot think of Brahman without Shakti or vice versa. One cannot think of absolute without the relative. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna teaching is. So this personal and impersonal are two ideas of same reality. Nothing is wrong. All are great ideas. Try to achieve what you believe in. If you believe the ultimate reality is impersonal, follow the path of jnana and realize that impersonal reality that pervades everything. If you are a follower of a personal God, then have tremendous love and yearning to realize that God you will ultimately find is the same thing. As per Sri Ramakrishna, the primordial power is even at play. This power is called Kali. Kali is verily Brahman, and Brahman is verily Kali. Same reality. When the ultimate reality is inactive, not engaged in creation, preservation, and destruction, then it is ultimate reality or Brahman. But when it or the Brahman engages in the activities, then we call it Kali or Shakti. Shakti and Kali depends on not that they become transformed into Shakti or Shakti becomes inactive into Brahman, not that. How you look upon the ultimate reality, according to that, it becomes, you call it Brahman or you call it Shakti. It's about your idea of the reality that makes whether it's Leela or it is Nitya. But both are together. Who thinks of Leela as the divine sport and Nitya is the ultimate unchanging reality and want to meditate on that infinite, pure, absolute blissful consciousness, they're all the same worshipper of the same reality, same God. Relationship of Jiva and Brahman is like relation between light and its source. Both are luminous. So this Jiva, our individual soul, and Brahman, the ultimate reality, are they related? Yes, they are not only related. What is the relation? It is the source of light and the ray of light. We are the ray of light. This may be the view of Vishishtadvaita, but this very convincing view that every soul is potentially divine. That means that we all have the power of divinity within us. So this is the view of Sri Ramakrishna, that we are ultimately connected. And if you go on Vedanta, it will say, Aham Brahmasmi, that ray of light, that true self of mine is one with the ultimate reality. I am that ultimate reality. By mistake, I have been thinking myself as the individual soul, having this body and mind. But I am never separated from that ultimate reality. That is my birthright. I am this. Even in ignorance, when I cannot realize the ultimate reality, I am that Brahman. So that Aham Brahmasmi comes because the teacher said, Tattvamasi, ultimate blissful consciousness. You are that. And the student meditates on that, realize I am that Brahman and says, Aham Brahmasmi. So a debated problem is whether God is with form or without form. Many religions condemn worship of anthropomorphic form of of God as idolatry. M from the Gospel also asked this question to Sri Ramakrishna in his second visit. M's idea of impersonal God and ignorance of personal God was unpacked by Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna solved this problem from actual experience. When he asked them, we'll come later on in detail about that conversation with Sri Ramakrishna and M during his second visit. When M came to Sri Ramakrishna for second visit, Sri Ramakrishna asked about him, and Sri Ramakrishna asked, whether do you believe in God with form, personal God or impersonal God or God without form? And Yam was very perplexed with this question. How can there be two ideas, whether of the same God? So Can one believe in one form and yet respect and accept other aspect also? So he said, "Sir, I like to believe in God without form." Sri Ramakrishna, right then he said that unpack the form of that what is written here, is that unpack that idea that though you may believe in impersonal God or God without form, but never for a moment think that those who believe in God with form or personal God are thinking God in a wrong way. They are as right as you are. Both these views are right about God. So with what vision, with what attitude, with what presence of your mind, mental state, you see God depends on that. God is same as person as or impersonal aspect. And Sri Ramakrishna taught him from his own aspect. No one can say with finality that God is only this and nothing else. Formless for Jnani, with form for bhakta. That is what is said. Two different kinds of mindset we have. One is more emotional, devotional, and more of loving kind, and one are more rational, reasoning, uh, more logical, more thinking kind. So for them, two aspects of gods are there. God, by His kindness, has provided these two aspects to worship and think upon, to connect to God with these three aspects, because He created human being with so many different kinds of ideas and minds. So He has to present Himself in different ways. It is His God's duty. So God presented Himself as personal God to those who were more of devotional temperament, and impersonal God to those who were more of a rational temperament. Jnani looks at the world as a dream and Brahman as the reality. That Brahman as existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute, as the shoreless ocean of consciousness and the reality. So that is what the Jnani traditionally does. So one cannot think of the absolute without the relative. So that is what is Sri Ramakrishna saying. Relative, when you think of the relative ultimate reality, so that absolute, that the relative thing comes in the mind. Compared to that, that is that way. As per Sri Ramakrishna, the primordial power is even at play. This power is called Kali. Kali is reality, same reality that is Shakti which creates this world is called Kali. If the reality is like an infinite expanse of water, through the cooling influence of Bhakta's love, the same water freezes some places and block of ice are created. So water without any form can be compared to impersonal aspect of God. Same impersonal aspect of God becomes block of ice. That water becomes block of ice and takes the form. And what is that form? That form is only water and nothing else, but it has form. You can like the form, you can like without form. It is up to your thought and your upbringing and your mindset that what likes. But there is no difference between water and the iceberg or ice cube. When you have a lot of devotion, you see same God, infinite expanse of consciousness condensed, that chid ghana kai, as they say. As Sri Ramakrishna also described the chid ghana kai. It is condensed aspect of consciousness and to takes this human form. That's what we call body of Sri Ramakrishna, chid ghana kai. So that happens in the Sri Ramakrishna gives the example, saying that there is no difference between this personal and impersonal aspect, and that blocks of ice which are of water has been created. God assumes forms of various forms for his devotees and reveals himself as a person for the devotees, that I am that. Don't consider me to be different from the expanse of water. I have assumed form for you because you love to see me in the form. You love to adore the beautiful form of God. The God, beautiful form of God, the personal God, I must be clear here, are of two types. One is saying that God is some being separate from me, from the world, from the creation, and that personal God may be formless or with form. Formless God uh, can be with attributes, with gunas. So God is there, some person is there, some being is there, and he is separate from me, but he is so kind, merciful, always taking our care, guiding us, always there, and he is very generous, kind, and he's that way. So that impersonal aspect, personal aspect of God without with attributes. And when you say this personal aspect without form, so when you say personal aspect with form, then God assumes the form as we want to see him in any form. We would consider Jesus as the form of God, or our all in Hindu religion, the forms of God, right? From Krishna, Rama, and Buddha. All those are the forms, Chaitanya, Sri Ramakrishna, all with those consider God, same expanse of water of consciousness as being the blocks, beautiful blocks, whom we meditate, whom we worship, whom we read, with their message, and feel that we are totally connected with that, get exuberance of God. Some people say when they read about their beloved, all the hair on this body stands erect. So much of trance, so much of joy that happens with the thought of personal God. It's not that when you think of God as impersonal, there will be no trance or joy. There will be trance of joy when you really approach that God, that ultimate shoreless ocean of blissful consciousness. You are closer to that. You feel you are merging in that. You feel that you are that. Then there can be all the changes in the body will happen, which you deny to be yourself. You disidentify with the body, but that's what it happens. God assumes various forms for a devotee. Rising sun of knowledge, says Sri Ramakrishna, the blocks of ice melt. No, so sun of knowledge comes. So these blocks that become impersonal. God can, the one who thought of God as personal may think of God as impersonal. There's no problem with that. God is a person, nor does one, no more God is a person, nor does one see God's forms. What he is cannot be described. This and other types of harmony achieved by Sri Ramakrishna in the field of the ideal or goal to embrace all religion. Sri Ramakrishna has reconciled that God of Hindus not different from the God of Christians or Muslims or Jews. The reality is one and the same. The difference is only in the name and form. Like the same water is called jal, pani, water, aqua, you, etc. In different languages. Water doesn't change, water remains same. But it is the language that different. It's same taste, same necessity, same joy of removing thirst by drinking the same water. But names are different. The God is also removes our spiritual thirst in whatever name we call, whatever way we want to approach him, whether through devotion, through bhakti, or through jnana or knowledge, or by combining all this knowledge and jnana and karma and the dhyana, all together we do, and approach to God. Whatever we do, it's the same fulfilling presence of that ultimate reality that we always throughout our life we seek. Let me give an account of Yam's that meeting when he asked that question to Sri Ramakrishna and conclude today's talk. On Yam's second visit to Sri Ramakrishna, the letter asked Sri Ramakrishna asked, "Do you believe in God with form or without form?" Yam was surprised to think, can God be with form and again without form? Can God be personal and impersonal? Can there these two contradictory ideas be true at the same time? Sri Ramakrishna further says at another place that you cannot say God is this or not this. Bhagabaner iti kora যায় না. God is beyond even the idea of the personal and impersonal. You cannot you cannot say God is only this and not that. You cannot describe fully God. Iti kora যায় না. God is remain this and it cannot be that. You cannot really describe. That's why Vedanta says, Eto vacho nivartante aprapya manasasa. You can really describe the experience of God, the ultimate reality, because mind along with speech comes back reaching that. That's what the Vedanta Upanishad say. God is God. Even better, God simply is. God realization is the ultimate goal of human life. But even before we have realized Him, we can think of him. Should we think of God with form or without form? Let us see Sri Ramakrishna's response to Yam's declaration that he likes to think of God without form. Yam had said that. Sri Ramakrishna's wonderful advice to all of us through by his message to Yam. He says, very good. It is enough to have faith in either aspect of God. You believe in God without form, that is quite all right. But never for a moment think that this alone is true and all else false. Remember that God with form is just as true as God without form, but hold fast to your own conviction. So that's what he said. If you have a little doubt that God is only this and not that, you don't feel like doing that, then hold on to your own conviction. God is with form alone, God is without form alone. But try to understand that God in reality is without form, and also he is with form. He can assume the form, he can remain without form. So it is up to God, and he is beyond even for with form or without form, inconceivable by this mind. Only when we reach God and realize God, then we understand what God is. As Sri Krishna said in the Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvata. Be devoted to me. That devotion is hankering to realize God, as Shankara also said in Viveka Chudamani, that your uh, your one pointed devotion to realize the truth, that is what I call bhakti swasarupa anusandhanam bhaktiritya vidiyate. So Shankaracharya also said about bhakti devotion, but he says devotion is search, unfailing, constant, unstoppable search for your own reality. That I call bhakti, says Shankaracharya. And Sri Krishna says in the Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. If you have true and intense devotion, you will know me surely. What type of devotion? Devotion to the personal God. Doesn't matter. You be devoted to personal God. What? How will you realize me? Yavan yes chasmi tattvataha. In essence, what and who I am, you will understand that through bhakti, through your intense wish and will to know me, to have that sort of devotion, always to know me through love, through knowledge, by combination of all the faculties that we have. Try to be connected to me, make me your goal and your top priority. You will surely reach me. And he says, Yavan is chasmi tattvata tato mam tattvato jnatva. When you know me fully, what I am and who I am, then your relation with me and you will be complete. You will know what you are and who you are and what is our relationship. Tato mam tattvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. Then you will enter into me. What does that mean? Through love alone, you can become one with Krishna, one with God. One, if Krishna is the form of the formless Brahman, you become one with Brahman, knowing fully. Just have that devotion and that wish to realize that ultimate reality by whatever way you like to see God. You like to worship Him in the form of Shiva, Rama, Ramakrishna, Krishna, Durga, Kali, Jesus. Doesn't matter in what form you want to worship Him, or you want to worship Him and want to think of Him as the infinite pure consciousness unrelated to this manifested world. And this world of Maya is just like a dream, or just like something played upon, just a vision. It doesn't matter how you look that, but have that love to realize God and be devoted to God in whatever form, impersonal form or personal form. You can be devoted to God in any form, and then you will realize who God is, and will achieve the goal of human life, as Sri Ramakrishna said. The realization of God is the ultimate goal of human life. So, thank you very much for being on Sunday service online. And now, with the closing chant, I close today's my talk. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. जय श्री गुरु महाराज जी की जय। जय महामाई की जय। जय स्वामी जी महाराज जी की जय। जय गंगा माई की जय। जय भगवान बुद्ध की जय। जय ईशा मूषा की जय। सर्वस्तरतु दुर्गानि सर्वो भद्राणि पश्यतु सर्वसद्बुद्धिमाप्नोतु सर्वत्र नन्दतु। Hari Om Tat Sat. May all be freed from dangers. May all realize what is good. May all be actuated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all.